Hi, I'm Dr. Katherine, and in today's video we're going to be discussing how to tell whether or not the lump you found on your dog is cancerous or not. If you have found a new lump or an old lump has suddenly changed in appearance, size, shape, maybe it's started to weep or ooze, you're probably pretty worried. Thankfully, a lot of the time lumps are benign, but it's always a good idea to have them checked out by vets. Vets are going to be able to take samples of the cells and therefore figure out exactly whether the lump is cancerous or not. Another benefit of having the lump seen sooner rather than later is that if it does need to be removed, it's much easier removing small lumps compared to lumps that have grown really big and potentially invaded other tissues in the region. A general rule of thumb for lumps is that anything that grows quickly, that is red, that is swollen, that's causing the skin around it to look really unhappy, maybe it's crusting or oozing pus. Anytime your dog has accompanying like behavioral changes or changes in their appetite, there tends to be more of a cause for concern. Before you go to the vet, please take note of whether you've noticed any changes in your dog's feeding behavior. Maybe they've seemed more depressed than normal, sleeping more than normal. And also take a note of the size of the lump when you first notice it, and the shape, the location, the general appearance of it, just so that your vet has a nice baseline. So let's get into the most common causes of lumps in dogs. The first one we'll discuss is lipomas or fatty tumors. Thankfully, these generally are benign and they're pretty common in dogs as they get older, especially dogs that are carrying a little bit of weight. They're composed of fat cells and they can be found anywhere over the body. You can see here my dog Delilah actually has one over her chest area. She has a few scattered around her body. I am just keeping a nice close eye on them. Every month or so I'm just having a feel to see if they've changed in size or shape. A second really common cause of lumps is papilloma or a wart. Similar to humans, thankfully they're not contagious between humans and animals, but they are caused by a wart virus, just like human warts are caused by. They can heal themselves. If your dog's body has a strong immune system, they'll generally be able to remove the wart by itself, but sometimes they do need to be removed, especially if they're getting in the way. Maybe they're around the mouth or something and they're getting damaged and bleeding a lot. You might want to have your vet remove them. A third common cause of lumps in dogs are calluses. Now these aren't really lumps per se, but I've included them here because a lot of the time they can be mistaken for lumps. Calluses can sometimes be pigmented, so they can get really dark, and that can cause people to think that they're potentially melanomas. We tend to find calluses over pressure points, so elbows, hocks, sometimes the hips of dogs, anywhere where a dog is lying down and putting a lot of pressure on. That skin gets rubbed and irritated over time, it just thickens. You can see here my dog Delilah has some good calluses over her elbows. She's going on 11 soon, so she's had a lot of time to develop them. There's nothing really to do about calluses except for providing lots of nice soft bedding to keep your dogs as comfortable as possible on those pressure points. Another common cause of lumps in dogs are what we call sebaceous cysts, and these are blockages in the dog's oil glands. If they burst, you often notice a white pasty substance kind of ooze out of them. They're sometimes mistaken for another common cause of lumps, which are abscesses. Abscesses are pretty much like a big version of a pimple. They're infections under the skin of dogs. They can get big and they can also get really painful. Often they're caused by a foreign body entering under the skin, so maybe it's a grass seed or something. Or if a dog's been bitten by something, a cat, another dog, an infection can build up under the skin and that can form into a really big, essentially, pimple. Please have that seen by a veterinarian because they often require drainage and antibiotics. And the last on my list of common causes of lumps in dogs are what we call mast cell tumors. These unfortunately are serious. They can be life-threatening to dogs. They're caused by a type of cell that lives under the skin called a mast cell. So now we've covered the most common types of lumps in dogs that we tend to encounter, and also what to do if you do find a new lump on your dog or an old lump that's suddenly changed. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every week. Thanks so much for watching.